In this video we're back on the road again. Betty and I are tackling currently State Highway 2, the Rumutaka hills. We've just come up that road quite boringly, lots of traffic, and yeah, it's a breathtaking little viewpoint up here. Oh look, there's a man peeing in a bush, lovely. So yeah, we're starting our drive. We've had 2 weeks rest in Wellington, and we are just about to start hitting the road again. Stopping at Masterton, then going up to Whanganui, where I understand there's a paddle steamer I hope to see, and then we shall continue making our way back up to Auckland. But I need to carry on driving. The adventure starts again. Here is some footage of how I got to this spot this morning with all the traffic. Well, we're on the road again. Lots of roadworks here. We approach the Hutt Valley, and yeah, I've had a very lovely stay in Wellington for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of almost complete turning off. So once again, thanks to Ian and Jane for putting me up for that time. It's been remarkable. And now off to meet another hub nutter near Masterton, which should be fun. See, they're building a brand new motorway here to speed up the traffic flow out of Wellington, so much work going on. Now just about to start driving up the road where I broke down in the Chevrolet Corvair. Pleased to report that car is working well once more. If we can enjoy ourselves up State Highway 2. I've driven up this road in an Audi TT and a Porsche 911 recently, so we'll see how Betty compares to such illustrious company. This is the hill that takes you up over the Wairapa. Fantastic range of hills here just north of Wellington. Right, things are going to be wiggly for the next 13 kilometres. You know a hill's going to be fun when they've got snow barriers like that. The only problem is the yeah, Kiwis don't seem to like driving very quickly on these roads. Had to wait for the motorbike there, but we're round until we collect the next queue of dawdlers. I would say the handling of the Ford Fairmont AU is not as good as a Porsche 911. The steering just isn't as communicative. You can get past with all these motorbike power. I'm not going to get past this queue in that section. But stunning roads. Nice Holden Ute there, towing one of the enormous Kiwi caravans. The width restriction seems much more generous here, perhaps because Kiwi roads are that much wider. As if by magic, I've managed to stop and let some of the traffic past. Didn't mean first. Holding second might have advantages though. Oh, my camera mount is, or my phone mount rather, is struggling to hold the against the considerable G-force generated by the 2001 Ford Fairmont AU. But yeah, we've got the traffic up again. It's a frustrating road to drive along. This is a fascinating little steam engine, but I think we should take a look around because the engineering in it is extraordinary. For a start, you'll notice we've got two engine regulators going on, an outside engine and an inside engine. So on the outside it looks very much like a conventional steam engine, but if we head underneath, you can see a second set of wheels. You can see them in the mirror, which grip a third rail. That cross section you can just see in the middle there. The white things are brake blocks, which I'll get to in a moment. But yeah, it can grip this middle rail. You can set the tension on the wheels, and so it's effectively two steam engines in one. And if we head over here, this is the rail, and this is typical of the gradient it would have gone up as well. So I'm holding that camera level, and that's the gradient of the rail. So the inner wheels grip this third rail and help pull it up the incline, and then the brake blocks would slow it down again. But imagine the heat in those. They must have got seriously hot, and this is believed to be the only surviving Fell engine in existence. They're quite extraordinary. They would strap several of these engines, put them at sections in one train, and they would slog their guts out, pulling the train over the hills on the way to Wellington, going to over 1,100 feet above sea level. It's quite extraordinary engineering. And well, it doesn't move anymore. You can still watch all the motion go round. The inner wheels aren't being driven at the moment. This is just the outer wheels, and yeah, you can see the drip trays for all the oil. Beautiful mechanism. So this is a restored brake van, which would have gone at the back and also had brake blocks to grip that rail. And you've got a wheel for front and back here, and the brake man would have to keep these under tension the whole way, and even adjust as the brake blocks wore going down. So 20 minutes of trying to balance the brakes as it hurtled, well, not hurtled, it wouldn't have gone that quickly, down the track. Don't know if they've got, yeah, you can see the centre rail down there. Just incredibly different times. So that was the Fell Locomotive Museum here in Featherstone. Well worth a look. It's State Highway 2 going straight past. Very busy. All the Christmas holidays, people trying to get back home. But yeah, it's a fascinating little place. I've just given you the tiniest glimpse of what lurks beneath, but I got fantastic film footage of what it was like with those trains going through tunnels, and they didn't go very fast. When we saw the mechanism moving, that was the speed it operated at. And yeah, it's a very interesting place. And yeah, I have spent more time there before. This was just a flying visit just to show you, because I thought you'd be interested as well. But I need to carry on my way, so come on, Betty, we'll go and get ourselves up to Masterton. We're now in Greytown, which 2 years ago was voted the prettiest small town in New Zealand. We're just coming up to the town centre now. I had a mooch around here the other day actually, and I can confirm it is quite pretty around here. There's some weird little Chinese super mini there, I think. So yeah, lots of quaint older buildings here, and sort of boutique style businesses, most of which were sadly shut the other day when I came through. But nonetheless, it has a lot of potential. Plenty of places to get a nice cup of tea, or maybe a coffee if you're that way inclined. I just had a very pleasant stay with some hub nutters who treated me to a cream tea. So interesting discussions about whether jam or cream goes on first. I decided to try both ways, but you'll notice it's quite hazy. The view, you can just see the mountains in the distance, and the reason it's so hazy is because of the bushfires in Australia, which just seems incredible really, because Australia is not close. To fly from Auckland to Sydney is going to take me over 3 hours. So it's kind of like there being a fire in Russia and it's affecting London. The distances are vast. Of course, there is pretty much nothing between New Zealand and Australia. But yeah, the smoke is very much drifting this way at the moment and kind of being held over. The glaciers on South Island are apparently starting to turn red. Such as the particulate matter that is falling on them from Australia. It shows you the scale of the fires there are frightening. That was definitely an approved line there, definitely. But yeah, we'll hurtle on. Still 177 kilometres to do today, and yeah, it's quite nice to be on the road again. Staying with another hub nutter tonight in Whanganui, and then pushing on to meet more hub nutters in Taranaki. And Taranaki should promise some spectacular views indeed. There is Mount Taranaki is the most exciting thing there. Have I got time there? Oh, no, not really. Maybe I have in front of that coach. Betty, go! No problem. Ooh, that LS400 sounded nice. We're now on State Highway 3. We're dropping down a mountain range. I'm not sure which one it is. We are just through the town of Woodville, and we are dropping down State Highway 3, heading over to the west side of New Zealand, North Island. Ooh, nice Holden Ute there. Just been lost in A125 shear line come up the other way, which looked fantastic. The owner wasn't hanging about either. Naturally, nothing interesting happens once I'm recording, but the roads have certainly got quieter. I think State Highway 2 is one of the major routes out of Welly, so now we've turned off. Things are a little quieter. Holden Commodore there, which they've just announced they're dropping. That's the one that's basically a Vauxhall or Opel insignia. They tried to keep the Commodore name going by just rebadging an insignia. It hasn't worked. Unsurprisingly, most people have seen straight through that, and the insignia is not a particularly well regarded car anyway. That's interesting. There's a car down in that ravine to the left. It's like a Mitsubishi Galant. That's the third car I've seen off the road today. Yeah, looks like there have been a fair few smashes over the Christmas period. People somehow can't cope with keeping a car on the road. I don't fully understand why that's such a struggle here. I mean, there isn't much traffic, the speed limits are fairly low. How do people do it? Some people manage to have accidents I just can't fathom. But anyway, we shall push on. Oh, and I should say this is the alternative route, because the Manawatu Gorge Road, which is actually State Highway 3, is yeah, not in a very good way. I think there's been a pretty spectacular landslide up there, and the road basically doesn't exist anymore. So we are diverting around really. We have reached Palmerston North, or Palmy North, as it tends to be known locally. I'm aware of a few hub nutters in Palmy North. I'm sorry I'm merely passing through, but yeah, here's where you live on the camera. Maybe it looks different, I don't know. But a bit of sunshine here, the weather seems to be improving. But it's just one of those days where you just covering the kilometres, and much of interest, bit of a hot rod thing going on around here apparently, but I haven't got time to explore. Oh yeah, yeah, and apparently I'm quite tired, even though it's only 2:30 in the afternoon. Not ruling out another break before we get there, but we're only an hour away now, so I'm tempted to just push on. Oh no, a row of cars for sale. Toyota Starlet, Volkswagen Beetle, God knows what that one is. Nissan Tida. Had a ride in a Nissan Tida in Christchurch. A very awkward, ordinary looking car, but that's because it's actually designed to be practical. Very spacious in the back, it's like a limousine. Oh, there's a rather nice fin-tail Merc over there. Look at that, beauty in red. Marvellous. Not sure if it's had the suspension lowered a bit or if it's just sagging in old age, but as you can see, they've got some big buildings here, which is a bit unusual. Not seen many big buildings. Yes, there is a town called Livin. I'm trying to get my pronunciation right on that, but it is a struggle. So it turns out it's Whanganui, not Whanganui. The F thing doesn't seem to work down here, but there's some very impressive art about the place. Quite interesting. There's an MGB just parked in the corner here, but now going to go on the paddle steamer, which should be a pleasant way to spend a couple of hours. Impressive. So this is the Whanganui River, and quite big it is too. And this is our tiny little paddle steamer, the Waimarie. I can see it's already steaming. There's not much steam because it's the sort of weather conditions, but there's definitely some hot coming at the top of that. So yeah, it should be fun. Dinky little thing. So the ducks are having a nice relaxing time with it. It's all good. So yes, Whanganui, there's a bit of a battle going on, big American truck up there, about the spelling. Some people put WH, some people just put W, but certainly a nice part of the world. So while we wait to board, there's a little museum, and distressingly I haven't found a typewriter, but there is this rather marvellous adding machine. God knows how this works. It's from the original ticket office, and some lovely old features as well. Cigarette cases and brushes. Yeah, good times. It's nice and warm here. We're down in the engine room. It's hot stuff.
That's just the engineers.
Wow. Nice and warm down here. So this is the bilge pump, just ticking over at the moment. And next we'll go up there. Haven't had a car for a while, so have a Ford Telstar with a quad cam V6 engine. Clearly just a Mazda 626. Well, that was a very pleasant ride on the paddle boat. We're down at river level. Want to go and look at that tower, but there's an awful lot of steps. If only there was an elevator. Good times. So the elevator dates from 1916, and apparently there's quite an echoey tunnel. It's a rather long tunnel. Strobing off the fluorescent lights. I'm sorry, that's what a DJI Osmo action camera does. It is quite a long tunnel. Wasn't expecting it to be quite this long. Opening day 1919. I wonder if people were any quieter back then, because they're bloody noisy now. Ugh! I've rung the bell. I'm waiting for the lift. Here we go. Hello.
Right, that's $2, thanks.
Sadly, there were sound issues at this point. The microphone only sometimes works on my camera, but here's the view from the top. And there's a handy spiral staircase. That's a bigger tower, but I'd climbed that the day before and hadn't entirely recovered. So I thought I'd go up this smaller tower. Working my way up to the top, there's the Whanganui River. It's sort of pronounced Whanganui. But like I say, there's a bit of a debate, and the WH rule doesn't seem to work on the west of New Zealand. It was very, very windy at the top, and you can kind of see why the river is sometimes called the Big Muddy. A very apt name, perhaps. But yeah, quite an impressive view, and an impressive elevator ride as well. Look, there you go, I'm pointing at a river. Marvellous.
So that was Whanganui. I now need to push on to Taranaki. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. It's been nice to be back on the road again, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Gosh, that building really is quite tall and it really is quite windy. So farewell.